Welcome to the Easter edition of Northern Heat. Today we've got a couple of guests with us today. We've got our Minister of Bathurst and West Bathurst and Beresford. I gather that's what it is, a Minister of Education, and you've got a whole bunch of other positions, Brian. And we have Ryan Wilbur here, who was with the City of Bathurst and Parks and Rec, and was also very instrumental in the organization of the event last week with Rogers Hometown Hockey. So first of all, I want to thank both of you for being part of making, showing and showcasing Bathurst again and the Regent, what we have to offer, and that got showcased all over Canada and probably North America because of the hockey players and the games that were happening. So Brian, I know you kicked off the whole thing and got the ball rolling, so just tell us a little bit about that and the networking, because I know it's not just one person that does it also.
Well, Bob, you're right, it's all about networking, and the story is Charles Olskamp from Bathurst, who works for Rogers in Moncton, he was instrumental in getting me hooked up with Dale Hooper, who worked directly with Rogers out of Toronto. Dale has a connection to Bathurst, so through Charles, meeting with Dale, I went down to visit him at his cottage, who he stays here in the summertime. We got talking about different opportunities with Rogers, and then lo and behold, we talked about hometown hockey, because I was fortunate to be able to go to one in Fredericton 2 years ago. Had a chance to meet Ron McLean and many of the executives from Rogers. I always make my pitch about coming from northern New Brunswick, saying you got to come up here and see how beautiful it is. So that led to another conversation with Dale, and Dale had always had in the back of his mind bringing Rogers Hometown Hockey to Bathurst, because he just loves the area. So with that said, I got a phone call from Dale and from Toronto and said, by the way, Brian, we're bringing Hometown to Bathurst, and I was pretty excited. So immediately I called the Mayor of Bathurst, Mr. Fonjami, and let him know what was going on. Then the City of Bathurst got together, along with many other volunteers, and put an amazing team together of volunteers with Rogers Hometown Hockey. And I got to say, talking to both Tara and Ron, spent quite a few days with them while they were here, they said that Bathurst was one of their most memorable stops along the way. They did 27 shows across the country. So networking is always have a business card with you, always have a chance to talk about your hometown, and one thing leads to another. So with Ryan and the team that were there, they had open arms to the complete crew that came. There was 50 people with that whole outfit coming here. They had 35 hotel rooms booked for a week, and what they said to me, they had so much fun with the people that were with the City of Bathurst and the volunteers. So hats off to you, Ryan, and your whole complete team in the City of Bathurst that did such a wonderful welcoming, and we are the home of hospitality. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so you started it off, again, we've got people from Bathurst who live all over the world, right? So that's where networking started. You started the ball rolling. We throw it over to you, Ryan, and now you've got the team going, and you chaired the organizing committee for this. So tell us a little bit more about how that worked out and who else you had to pull into the organization.
Yeah, so it certainly wasn't a one-man effort by any means. We had a great local organizing committee that was comprised of different people from all over the community, different stakeholders. Big engagement from minor hockey. Obviously, this being a hockey event, we really wanted to make sure that minor hockey was involved in every aspect of the planning and execution of the weekend. Tourism, operations from the City of Bathurst, the Mayor's office, communications, you name it. We probably had an LOC that consisted of about 8 people through the run of it, and it really was probably about an 8 to 9 month planning process to get to last weekend.
So things don't happen overnight. As you said, you know, you've known Mr. Oskamp for many years, right? And so pulling all this stuff together, the networking of everything here, doesn't make any difference how big that the area is. We've got the capacity to do anything that we want to do. Pull it together.
And the beauty of today's people's Rolodex is social media. People's Rolodex are their phones, their telephone numbers, cell phones. And when you plant that seed, keep in touch with the whole idea is keeping in touch with people. You never know when someone might come in handy along the way. And that's what I've always been doing in politics or in my business career, is to make sure you have connections. And you meet up with people 20 years later, and those friendships that you gathered maybe 20 years later might plant a seed 20 years later, and we have a full observation of people coming to the area. Like the people from Rogers, when we had that broadcast right across North America, there's probably 1 million people watching this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Showcasing the Chaleur region. And to have that type of exposure free of charge, really, when you think of it. That's amazing. So,
Oh, absolutely. If you had to pay for that advertising,
yeah.
imagine even like the snowmobiling and the Atlantic Host and everything that was going on, and the trails that we have and what we got to offer. And Ron McLean saying that, you know, Bathurst had 15 feet of snow. He wasn't lying though. We're pretty close. Yeah.
well,
yeah.
we've got to take advantage of what we have here in our 4 seasons, and if we have snow, we've got to make sure that we take advantage of that.
Well, guys, listen, I really appreciate it. I think that your guys are doing stuff, and as we talk, Northern Heat's about turning on the heat. You guys definitely turned on heat. There's really showcase our region, and thanks again for all the work that you've done, and thank you very much to the crew of people that were involved in making this happen.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, good.